What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Vault. Glad you could make it down. I'm here with another pioneer of Bay Area thrash, and I kind of like to consider him kind of like the Pete Willis of thrash, the guy who wrote the songs but didn't necessarily get the notoriety that he deserved. And I'm talking about Mr. Derek Ramirez. What's up, Derek?
How are you doing over there, my friend?
Nice to see you in here.
You too.
We're going to talk about some old stuff. Before we get to that, I want to remind everybody to watch this on YouTube, on your screen, on TV. It looks so much better. Don't you think, Derek? We just watched it in there, an episode. It looks killer on there.
The stuff you showed me looks tops.
And if you want
it's on point.
To send a message for you, go to cameo.com. Remember to drink Death Wish coffee because it'll get you up in the morning. That's what we drink here on the show. And if you haven't got your Zetro shirt or patch, go to greyhavenmedia.net. Like I said, another pioneer in the vault. And a lot of people don't know that the band that you know now is Testament was once called Legacy. And I'm sure a lot of people you know that, but I don't know if any of you know that there was a guitar player before Alex Skolnick, and it actually started the band, and that was you. And so many of the great Legacy songs, I mean, even the demo songs, Curse of the Legions of Death, Reign of Terror, Raging Waters, those are all
Mayhem Strikes,
Mayhem Strikes, yeah.
Secret Agent.
Secret Agent, that's right. Songs they don't recognize now because we changed the words on those. But and then I heard you guys first time on a practice tape because Donnie Spear was playing guitar with me. I was in a band called Metal Warrior, and I heard it, and I was like, "What is this?" It was like a new sound I ever heard of. So what influenced you, Derek? And besides him and Eric Peterson are cousins, which was like yin and yang kind of back at the time. So as kids, what were you guys listening to, and what was was it horror movies like me and radical cartoons and like typical kid like we just talked about, toys and still being little kids and stuff? Talk about that.
That was me. I mean, I was a weird kid, so I was kind of looking for all the macabre stuff. So
right, me too.
I was watching Creature Features, Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, and all the weird shit. And
Night Gallery.
Night Gallery was my favorite too. And I was drawn to all, like we were talking about, all the old scary movies like The Sentinel. And,
yeah, you said you saw that yesterday.
Yeah.
What a great movie.
And I snuck into that as a kid. I found it on a paperback first, and I saw the cover with all these demons coming out of the hell, and there's the Sentinel, the priest, the blind priest.
Yeah.
And, he was just, that drawed me in. I had to go see the movie.
So is that how you were you listening to heavy music at that time as a kid? Because the Sentinel's like 1974, 75.
Yep.
That makes you probably about 10, 11, 12 years old at the time, right?
Exactly.
We're the same age.
So I was living in Alameda, home of, the Doors. Jim Morrison grew up there as a kid, and my uncles and stuff were listening to all the acid rock and Led Zeppelin, Pink
Alice
Floyd,
Cooper,
all that. So I'd go and sneak their albums and put them on, and we had one of those old jukeboxes where the lights would light up on the speaker. And, I was kicking it, and then I'd watch all the scary movies. Creature Features, I watched that every weekend when it came on with Bob Wilkins.
We love that. I do the theme song for the show now.
Oh, man.
And they're good friends of mine. I'm actually going to do a whole episode on Creature Features, but we'll get to that. How is that what influenced you to listen to the darker music as you got older? Was it because for me it was like metal and horror movies really go together kind of well, so it was like metal is the heaviest of the music, horror is the heaviest of the movies, the monsters.
So I was listening to a lot of like Kiss and Black Sabbath, and I grew up in everybody's listening to disco where I went to school. It's more minorities and stuff, and I was kind of like the outcast. They're like, "Oh, you were wearing a Kiss shirt." I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm going to wear Kiss and be a gang member, too."
See, I grew up in Dublin, and everybody was like, you knew that we were all rockers here.
Yeah.
So we were, there wasn't much. If anything, it was more like there was people that I like Led Zeppelin or I like Kiss, but it wasn't like any deferred from that. So when did you start playing guitar? How old were you when you picked it up?
That was when I was 10. I saw there's a place called Tempo Music in Alameda, and I had a friend named Randy Ferrer and Vince Perez, and they play guitar. And we used to go to there and steal guitars and stuff. And I got my grandmother to buy me a Memphis Les Paul. I mean, I thought it was the greatest thing since the wheel.
Right.
And this thing's action was like from here to Hong Kong. It didn't play very well, but you know, I got it and I was happy with it. And then I broke the neck, and I worked 2 summer jobs, and I got a Gibson SG, which you remember that
Yes,
guitar.
I do. Yes,
And
I
I
do.
still have it.
Do you really?
I do, and it's worth a lot of money.
I bet it is. Don't ever get rid of that guitar.
So, yeah, I started listening to heavy stuff. And as you were mentioning, Donnie Spear, he's my cousin, too. And his dad was really nice, and he had Black Sabbath and all this. He'd play it for me. And, you know, he knew I liked music. So we'd be listening to that. And then that's how Donnie got into guitar, too, which I would have never met you. He didn't get you in the band.
Right.
Because
right.
we stole you.
Yeah, well, kind of. Well, that's a whole other story that we'll obviously tell. So when did you and Eric hook up, or
Okay.
did you hook up with Louis first? I mean,
Okay, me and Eric we were starting to listen to like Judas Priest.
and were you close cousins back in the
Yeah,
day? You
we were close, but I lived more in the urban area, the city, and you guys lived out here in the suburbs. He lived in Walnut Creek or Lafayette, and I'd go out there. I go, wow, I used to think it was like I'm out in North Carolina or something, because it was all
Sure.
woods and
Well, yeah,
hills.
especially back then, it was much more suburban.
And
than
I
it
was
is
like,
now.
and I'd bring all my stuff back from the city, and it was like, when you listen to that music, it does something to you.
And what year are we talking now that you and Eric are like talking? And,
Okay. Well, we grew up as kids, so we went to school for a little bit in 3rd grade and 4th grade, and he lived in Lafayette, came back and moved to Bay Farm Island, which is Alameda, and we just started jamming. He lived a block away, and we'd, have our parents say, hey, turn it down.
At
The
what
neighbors.
age is this, Derek?
This is 6th grade.
6th grade. So you're 12 years old,
Yeah.
playing together.
12 years
So
old.
Even right by then. So Eric was playing as early as then as well.
He picked up the guitar pretty much right after his dad bought him a guitar,
Uh-huh.
and then we, like I said, we're listening to Kiss a lot, and then we started listening to Venom, Judas Priest, Angel Witch, and there's a place called the Record Exchange in Walnut Creek. It was kind of like the Record Vault.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little.
This place was cool too.
Same thing. It was the 2 heavy metal record stores in the Bay Area. It
Yeah,
was the Vault,
and it was like it was
an
just like
exchange.
it was cool because it had everything that you could think of.
For us.
Yeah, and
For us.
we were listening to live Judas Priest. I was already listening to the Priest, like with Led Zeppelin played with them at Dana Green. I saw him there, and I think that was Sad Wings.
77. Rick Derringer.
Yeah.
Judas Priest, Rick Derringer, and Led Zeppelin.
Yep. So I was bringing over Judas Priest albums. It's like, oh, this is cool. Listen to his voice. It's all high and cool. And then I saw the Iron Maiden album, the first one, and I saw that album cover at the Record Exchange, and I go, I'm gonna get that. So I got it with the little 45 that was Venom, Welcome to Hell,
Welcome to Hell.
and Live Like an Angel, Die Like a Devil was on it.
Yes.
I'll tell you about that one later. But so we get to Eric's house, his dad's house, and he had a nice Ansui stereo system, and we put that thing on, and I liked it right away. He's kind of thought it was the punk rock, and I was like, it's not punk rock, it's cool. And I like punk rock too, so I was hard.
Did you guys like punk? I liked punk. Did you like punk?
I was into hardcore punk. I
Right.
used to sneak out of the house, take the bus to San Francisco, go to the Mubéhe Gardens, the farm. All
Yeah, on
those.
Broadway.
On the Broadway, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
my
talked about
God.
that. I had Waddy in a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, those were the days, man. And that's what I try to explain to people, that thrash metal is a derivative of the hard new wave of British heavy metal.
Absolutely.
Like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. Crossing with the Exploited and the Dead Kennedys and Discharge and GBH and that sort of thing. Anything punk, anything that was raw and fast at that time.
Yeah, and I was drawn to all that. And you remember the band Rebels and Infidels?
Yeah, remember, yeah.
They were our buddies.
Darby used to do our sound. Remember
Yeah,
that?
and
Darby
they
did
got
our
us
sound.
hooked up with a gig with them.
Yeah.
That was actually our
That was our
first gig. We had
ever.
3 songs or so, but
Four.
it was fun.
We played 4.
Yeah.
Remember you and Eric and Greggy had priest collars and upside down crosses, and I had this total black shirt that had a picture of Hitler's face and said "White Power." What a dumb kid! And I just need to apologize for that. We was anything that was ruthless, anything that seemed to be like like it was
Rebellious.
rebellious, exactly.
Yeah.
Anything that was going to catch an eye, and you look at it now and you go, "Wow, what a freak I was." Talk about hooking up with Louis Clemente, because that's basically Derek. That's the inception of Legacy. Because me listening to that, there was never a bass player. Because we'll got to get into Bluto, but let's get into Louis. Where did you find Louis? He was another Alameda guy, right?
Okay, this is just the universes came together that day. I was jamming on my guitar at a park, and it's called Godfrey Park out in Bay Farm Island, and we're drinking beers and smoking doobs, and here comes this little car, coming by, and I hear metal, and I'm the only one that listened to that stuff back then where I lived, and him and his brother, what's his brother's name again? Gino. They both got out of the car.
The spaghetti sucking son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Hey, Gino.
And I seen these 2 guys, and I go, man, those guys look like they're from Europe, man. They have the jean jackets with all the patches. And I go, hey, these guys are cool. And we just started talking right from the get-go and naming off all the bands we liked. And he was naming bands I didn't really listen to yet, like Wasp and shit. And they're from L.A. And that's where they were living before they moved out to the Bay Area. And we just started jamming from there. We go, hey, we got to jam. And we're playing, Whiplash and all these songs that, we didn't have our own songs.
Where did you start? Was it our first studio at Clay Street? Is that where you guys started? Where did you go first? Because I remember when I got in the band, we were at Clay Street in Oakland. Remember?
Yeah, we were already set up there. So what happened with that is we're doing the garage thing and the rooms and getting kicked out. The cops coming to Louis' house and stuff. And we got Eric in the band at this time.
And how did that roll? Tell us how Eric got in the band.
Okay.
You had hooked up with Louis now. And have you guys jammed for like a month or two? You said, hey, I got my cousin in. How did you do?
Me and Eric, Eric and I were already playing some songs and stuff. He lived
covers, or were you writing
covers?
Stuff?
We're doing Judas Priest covers. You name it. And then we're starting to write our own songs because we had a band before that in high school that we started playing with this guy Joey Fry, and we were playing some heavy stuff. I mean, it was like Maiden and Venom sounding stuff, and we didn't have
any originals back then.
It was originals. Yep, we had a song called Conjuration. That was one of our first originals.
God, that's so Eric. Conjuration.
And that was one of our first songs, and we were playing it for I think Mark McGee played it on a little boom box for him. He's all, man, that's cool. And he had a studio. He had a band called Overdrive, and they used to do the Metal Mondays over in the old Waldorf. And he said, we got a studio over in Oakland off of Clay Street, and we share it with another band. They're moving out. And I told him about me and Eric trying to get something going. He says, come on over, man. And I talked to Ed Holt or whatever his name is.
Remember Ed?
And we talked, and he says, yeah, drop off the money. You guys can move in. Boy, was he in for a challenge.
Boy, he chased us for random. We had so many notices on our door to get out. They never did.
And I worked for Budweiser at the time.
Markstein, that was so great.
And I got unlimited beer. It was old beer.
It was the best.
But it still was good. It might have been a day old.
We didn't care.
Oh, no. We didn't have a refrigerator, so we drank it warm.
We didn't care.
We drank it European style.
It was good. It was good. So at this point, you got the room on Clay Street, and is this the first time that you and Eric and Louis are going to the room to jam together? Had you done anything in the garage?
We jammed in the garage in his room.
For about how long?
I'm going to say maybe 4 times.
So not too long.
Not too long, because, nobody was going to tolerate us. And we moved over there. We thought it was cool. I mean, this place was riddled with cockroaches and prostitutes in front of the studio at night and drug dealers.
I remember that.
And we loved it.
I remember that.
I mean, it was our element because we could have as many people over there. We had a parking lot across the street.
And we did.
And we packed that place, and all the old beer was empty.
Yeah.
And the guy that owned the place would be bitching.